seagulls follow the trawl, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
And as we say now in my country, they brought the buzz and they left the buzz in front of the goal.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
It's just the T.N.F. We're a wee bit late. But to be honest, I've only been in the house for like 10 minutes, so I couldn't have got on any other than I have. So apologies if you've been waiting out in the cold, wherever your bus stop is located around the globe. But we are here now. Star-studded lineup, as always. Johnny Lowe, good morning to you, mate. Good to see you. What day is it? Brilliant to have you on. Steve O'Mac joins us again. And he and Connor Carmy, the formidable team at the weekend. So it's good to have you guys back on as well. Hope everyone in the chat is doing good. 91 live already. Took a wee night off last night, but we're back in business. I am feeling 10 times better. Detox has begun. I'm dry the whole of March, man. Oh, I don't know why I set these stupid targets. I'm all in or all out in life. It's just the way I am. So anyway, I'm feeling much, much better. And Jonathan losing sudden death to that shell of a man that I was on Tuesday night is a disgrace, by the way, the more I think about it. Anyway, let's go round the troops. Connor Carmy, good to see you. I take it you're still a wee bit buzzing from Sunday. It's only been 4 days, mate. We're still allowed to be basking in the glory of it all, are we not?
Oh, I'm indeed. These are the kind of things that fuel you for the rest of the month. Never mind the rest of the week. You just go into it feeling like you're 10 feet tall, and it's an excellent frame of mind to be in. So I'm hoping everybody feels the same.
It's been an enjoyable week, Johnny Logue. All the more enjoyable because I didn't have to get up for the breakfast bar. But let's be honest, I had no chance on Wednesday. Like, no chance. Every minute counted going into Wednesday morning for me. And it was a topsy-turvy bus that I had overnight as well. I was like that. Waking up every hour, nightmares, the lot. You know that I hate that, man. What was I used to call it? The ghost train. It was the ghost bus that I'm now on. It was terrible. Johnny, good to have you back on this week, though, nonetheless.
Yeah, it's good to be back on, although didn't get to enjoy Sunday the same way as most of you guys did because I didn't see a single minute of the game on Sunday.
Oh.
I managed to grab what the halftime score was, and after about, I think, 20 minutes after the game was finished, I managed to find out that we'd managed to do the business as we expected, but it was a torturous Sunday afternoon for me, let's put it that way.
Oh, that sounds like torture. Steve-O, we had a good good build-up show. We did the sesh, mate, on Saturday. It got loads of views as well. It was brilliant fun. And yeah, the talking's over. The trophy's in the cabinet. Not bad, eh?
Aye, mate, absolutely textbook. As we predicted, much like yourself, I was a wee bit tender over the weekend. That luncheon and dinner, I was wiped out on Monday and feeling a wee bit tender to come the Tuesday. But we're back, and unlike you, I'm as dry as the weather outside. So let's get going.
I love it, mate. Listen, I'm not one to judge. You know that. I'm all for it, mate. Normally, I set myself a wee goal a week or so ago. I was like, I know I'm going to drink for the cup final, and I was like, right, when are we going to detox this year? And I just thought March is the last month where it's kind of still darkish in the mornings. It's still a bit shite. I was like, and then April, if I stay off at March, April we hit with a bang. You know what I mean? I take my drinking very, very seriously. If you take your drinking seriously, you've got to take the detox part seriously too. So, it'll be a fun month though, nonetheless.
You woke up with the fear. I know what it was. You're one of the ones that weren't planning on it. You felt rats, and you're like, never again.
No, I did plan it. I'd say
you risk a dry April,
could you? I said, genuinely, I had honestly, I'm pathetic, man. Was it last week's hangover? I had the Monday or something. I was like, fuck this. I know I'll drink come next weekend anyway because of the football, but I'll do March off it. And I've got turmeric, milk thistle. I'm on this green chlorella or something. I can't say it, but it's meant to be some I don't know. It's absolutely revolting anyway. But you know what? Apparently, it's going to make me just back to my best, man, for the 1st of April Fool's Day. Come on, I can't wait. But anyway, let's enough of that shite. All that good stuff, very, very quickly, and it is. All that good stuff means practice here. If you want to hit the subscribe button, we rocketed up subscribers at the weekend, by the way. We're sitting just under 3,410 now. I think the last time I announced it was 3,360 or something. So we jumped to 50 subs. So a big thank you to all the new subscribers on the channel. Please do hit the like button. It gets even more on the bus than the 116 watching live right now. Get in there. And if you want to become a Voice of Us member, like Danny, Tattoo Face Tantrums, I think they bought half these memberships. Celts on the Hill, Scott Cameron, DJ Gaz. There's loads in there, man. Loads. Thanks to y'all, Paul Diet. There's another one. Another wee shout out. Thanks to y'all, but it's completely optional. Don't worry about that. Content always can be free. As if we would make it a subscription-based service in the fucking bus. Remember as well, if you want to buy one of the Bumblebee kits, we are getting closer and closer to our target. There they are. They're 40 quid. Optional postage and packaging if you can afford that as well. That's fine. Totally optional as well. 40 quid. Just send me a payment on PayPal, crookedarm@ymail.com, or drop me an email if you don't have PayPal, and we can do it there. It's glory. And as always, a big shout out to Pie Sports. First is the code, and get your pies with a 12.5% discount from those legends. Right now, it's time to talk the football corner. Sometimes when I read you in the WhatsApp group chat, big boy, I'm like that. Does he hate Rangers more than he loves Celtic? Because he hates them. Right? I'm like that. Every text that you put in it starts with they so-and-so's, right? And I'm always like, he hates them. I take it was an especially sweet day, and I think we've got to be honest here. The talking that was done by Bill, I said this last week in the build-up, the talking that's been done wasn't in the lead-up so much to the final. I felt reality was beginning to bite for Mickey Beale, but we've got warm memories. And I think the last 3 months, I think if I'm honest, it added just a wee bit more needle for me to make sure that we won that game on Sunday. And it was oh so sweet to see all the backpedaling now. It's a full revamp, rebuild, you name it. They're in absolute disarray. And all it took was us to be, I don't know, what is it Chris Eubank says? 50%?
Aye. It makes it all the sweeter just watching that greasy used car salesman Bobag Beale just fucking walking up that pitch and just looking absolutely fucking done with yourself, and just it was just beautiful, beautiful scenes. You know, just watching all the fucking orcs flood out the stadium in droves and not even stay to clap their team. And, you know, he had to just get, you know, the last bits of the media on him taking that team out to do a talk in the centre circle, and he didn't even stay to watch Celtic lift the trophy. Which, you know, there's a difference. There's that saying, you know, form's temporary, class is permanent. But with Celtic, we've got both, and they have neither. So, you know, it's just a. It was really sweet with all the previous, you know, shit that was coming out of them, and you'd think that when we did that to them, we beat them, and I'd say we weren't at our best, but we definitely weren't at our worst. We were better from them than an absolute mile, you know. And they're still talking. They're still talking as if, you know, they're in it and they're, you know, they're relevant, which fair fucks to them. If they want to maintain that myth, I'm more than happy, because as long as they think they're decent and willing to think they're catching up with us, I don't think we've got much to worry about.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, Johnny. I mean, for all the meltdowns they're having, of course, it was another glorious week in the reign of Mr. Postecoglou, who can be sitting, I hope he's had a couple of cigars on Monday, just basking in the glow, maybe Sunday night. And, you know, just a fantastic display. When I didn't see when I say we were at 50%, that's not because I thought we were poor or anything. I just thought that next level I still felt we had. I thought it was a game of complete control by Celtic, Johnny. I felt it was a display when I was watching it, right, that reminded me of, like, us playing in Europe against a team we just knows far better, and we're just chasing shadows and getting exhausted by them. Well, that was what Rangers must have felt like playing against us, and I think that was epitomised by the first goal in particular. But it was a display of, whilst showing all the pressing, the work rate, the getting the ball back, which Twitter's been snipping up just delightfully this week. It's been great fun to watch. But I also thought, we spoke about this before, his in-game management is so good, because Celtic now just know when to flick that control button and go, do you know what, we're just going to control proceedings now. And I think the first 5 months of Ange's reign, now we know there's many reasons for this, by the way, I get all that, but it wasn't as evident and it wasn't as clear to see. And maybe you look at like the Leverkusen game and you go, that wouldn't have happened if, you know, we were where we are now. But I thought it was just a brilliantly controlled final. It looks like that guy's landed a few planes in his time.
I think he certainly has. As I said, as far as talking about the game goes, I can't really say too much about it, because all I've seen is a little bits of highlights and the goals. But like you said, they do control the game now, and they seem to pick it up when they want to. And the goals, although they were just a tap in from what, 3 or 4 feet out from the goal line, it was the way it was worked, and getting the ball into that position and getting the ball across. And they just, like you said, I never seen the game. I knew it was as soon as I seen it was 1-0 at half time, I thought I can relax for the rest of the game now, because we are going to win this, because we do control it. And like you said, Ange could have had the cigars out the last 3 or 4 weeks. And when we talk about all the chat and all what was going on coming from out of Ibrox, all the chat and that's all it was. It was all just chat with absolutely nothing to back it up with. Nothing whatsoever. And like they've been saying in the papers all week, you know, he signed 2 guys that were meant to be first team starters. Didn't even get a start. So what's Bill playing at?
Yeah,
whatever he's playing at, I hope he keeps it up, by the way. Yeah, just that's the key word is control. Ange's just in control of the situation. He knows what's going on. I'll just lap it up. You can say what you want. We'll do our talking where it's meant to be done, on the park.
Well, Steve-O, it does feel, it did have a vibe about it when you seen his startled face at the touchline, not a clue what to do. You seen the levels between the two teams, I felt at times, Steve-O. And like I say, I don't think Celtic weren't at their best because they were playing poorly. I just didn't think they needed to go up through the gears. I don't know if you felt that, but what I did see was two sides there. There is levels to it. Now, to bridge that gap is their challenge. But what you also need to remember in football, Steve-O, is it's a sum of moving parts. Whilst they might, in their minds, improve by bringing in 8 players, letting 12 go, whatever it may be, that doesn't mean Celtic don't get better in that meantime as well. And bear in mind, the ones with the rakes of cash coming our way. Thank you, KT, if those stories are true, by the way, as well. But the ones with the cash and the actual, we've got the actual, the tools to do that if we so wished. If we wanted to rebuild our team again this summer,
Yep.
not that I'm advocating that, but we've actually got the tools in place to do it. So we're not going to be sitting still at any time soon. So whatever level they think they need to get up to match us, actually is probably a few further notches up, if that makes sense, because this summer we'll go again. Big Ange will go again. I'm telling you that right now.
No, absolutely. Listen, see the game. I'm still loving it. I mean, it went exactly as I thought. I totally agree with you that it was complete control without ever really feeling overly pushed. The two players and team, were at polar opposites. Seeing you actually watch it, we just done what we done. It was slick, it was passing, it was control. And I don't know if anybody's seen it. If you haven't, go out and seek this video out. There's a wee fun video that somebody put together of Rangers, his best moments or the plays in the game. And it's just woof, woof, every 2 seconds for every conceivable position in the park. It's just a big launch and hope. And that sums it up. That video is about 2 minutes of your time. And it's just, it shows you right there and then, because you watch a game, you sometimes don't see with your eyes, if that makes sense. But you just see it. You see how basic, you see how rudimentary, you see how far apart our styles are. And listen, we said this long when we done the build-up. They could prime the excuses. They could hide behind the rebuild. Now it's hiding behind guys not being fully fit or blah, blah, blah. And now they're coming out. And I must admit, it's been hilarious. I think I might have OD'd on content the past few days between fans making up ridiculous excuses and now players coming out. It's brilliant. And listen, 2 things today that rung through was Lundstrom's pathetic excuse. See if they believe that they are still that close, then long may it continue, because they're only going to continually get bit in the backside. And then Beale saying that it'll hurt and it'll deep set for a while yet. That's just an excuse for the inevitable drop of points in the league. And as you said, the money, we can go again. I'm seeing some nonsense about they want to sign Tillman for $5 million and some goalie for 4.50. I'm sorry, I don't think when a team needs 12 players in their position that 9.5 million on 2 is a good outlay when you need more. And he says he needs 3 or 4 players, to see if he believes that. Even better again, which means they're all going to get new contracts. Long may it continue.
They're snookered. This is the thing, Connor. Everywhere they turn, they're snookered, in my opinion, right now, to deal with this. And do you know what? I mean, I was campaigning on the bus stop show last week with Phil. You know, it's been a while since I've had heat on Twitter. Do you know what I mean, Connor? It's been a while since I've had an absolute pile on. I went the other way. Yesterday, I was just listening to the radio. I got quite a lot of folks seem to like what I said, but there was a bit an element of truth in it. They went from thinking they would compete at the weekend, or it would be a tight affair. Obviously, a resident Rangers fan, Bob, in the chat had the brown brogues already and polished, and he was telling us we're going to be a $1 for us, and he'd be back. That's not happened either. Still like you though, Bob. Don't worry, you're always welcome. But the thing is, with what I posted, which seems to have resonated to an extent, and by the way, that doesn't extend the size of my cock or anything, by the way. I don't really care about, all that stuff. But for whatever reason, folk have kind of, actually, even the guy with the hair that I hate, he's probably got a point there, which is rare for me on Twitter. And I just think when you look at it, the rebuild thing, or this revamp, like that, it seems to be the default, like, that's what we now need to do. What we need to do now is just sell everyone and bring in a whole new team. And you know why this is at the forefront of everyone's minds now? It's because that's what Ange did 2 years ago. Let me tell you that there is a completely different set of circumstances that both managers face to achieve such a rebuild. And Ange's was largely funded by 32 million pounds worth of Christopher Ayer and Odsonne Edouard. Notwithstanding that, the highest season tickets sales in the country. Notwithstanding that, we had 13 million from Jeremy Frimpong from the January. I mean, that was used and spent very wisely. We've discussed many a time the net spend of Ange is actually miraculously low. I mean, for them to try and achieve that rebuild, and if they think because Ange did that 2 years ago that that's just what good managers do now, and Beale's elite and he'll just be able to do the same thing, I think that will be a rude awakening as well, Connor. I don't think right now they've got the answers, and they're now kind of just, it's like pin the tail on a donkey sort of thing with and trust me, they are donkeys, but it's like pin the tail on a donkey sort of thing where they're going, right, it's a rebuild thing now. 4 months ago, it was sack the manager. The problem is, no matter what they do, Celtic's situation, both on and off the park, are the musical statues the board played, in my opinion. But the tools are there, the finances are there, and the best manager we could have right now at the club are all in situ. The assets we've got in the park are outstanding. Everything is geared towards another, should we say, decade of dominance? Is that getting carried away too much? I don't know about a decade, but for the foreseeable few seasons, I don't understand how the landscape can now shift again. This hasn't been in the last 12 years. This hasn't been something that's flopped. The pendulum's like swung. Do you know what I mean? This has been a one-off season where they won a league title. A one-off season. Ange's first season, he was just getting to grips with it. Overhauled a 30-point gap and they won a Scottish Cup. Fair enough. I don't see, though, how this is now going to suddenly U-turn and completely flip the other way again, Connor. I think we seem to have all the answers. They seem to have all the questions.
I mean, despite what that fucking old dauber Hugh Cavan seems to think, we're not playing past the parcel with Rangers. As we gave a loan of the parcel to Rangers, and we're like, right, fucking geese it back. That's what it is. You know, that's the way it's worked out. But, you know, the way that they think it's going to be, because they're like, they're watching a chef on TV cooking this beautiful meal and they're trying to do it themselves, but they're trying to do it with Tesco Value Produce. They can't do it. It's not as simple. It's not going to be as good. Just because you see someone else do it doesn't mean it's going to work out that way. You know, they have, I think, 9 players out of contract in the summer, and they're, even if they had a year left in their contract, I think most of them would be worth fuck all. If you look at if you break it down, you look at them with what they contribute and what they do as players. You know, we got very lucky with Postecoglou, and you know we won a watch with them, and they are under so much scrutiny now. They can't do what they did under Gerrard. They're in this weird bubble that they think that under Gerrard they were trying to rebuild the club and build it back up to being the same. They weren't. They were trying to stop 10 in a row, and that was it. That was the catalyst for them going forward. And as soon as they've done it, they were like, all right, well, that's cool. They'll go into disarray now, and we've won it, and oh, look who we've won it. It's great now, but they can't. Not to mention the fact that UEFA's monitoring them for financial fair play, so they can't go back to the well of, you know, doing dodgy deals and paying outside their means. It's not going to work. And I'm sorry, but every player they seem to get is either a youth player with a decent reputation or some fucking journeyman for lower tiers English football, or players on a free. You can't rebuild an entire squad with that. I'm sorry. There's only so many players are willing to give you free contracts, you know, and come over to you. It's not going to work. And honestly, they can try it all they want. It's going to be fucking hilarious watching it all unfold. And I'm just going to be sitting back here with a big tub of popcorn, just sitting back and laughing at the fuckers.
Paul Dyatt with the comment of the night so far, Johnny Logue, trying to make a beef Wellington with a tin of Spam and a slice of bread. Oh, I love that. I hope it was Warburton's bread. But Johnny, see, when you know, it's easy right now to poke fun at them and look out. And I do think there is doors slamming on each avenue they wanted to go down, you know. And we maybe, you know, opened the door a wee bit, nearly let them in, and then it's just shut again. And every other avenue they're now going to try to do to overhaul it, we're going to point and laugh at times. But it's now time to flip our attention to Celtic and look not just at what we've got in the team, look at what this now sets us up for this season. Now, I said I would end up like this. I was gutted about Europe, and I went, honestly, man, I'll be looking at domestic football with a level head. Now here I am, Cloud Cuckoo Land again. Do you know what I mean? Like, I know this would happen. Like, you can't help it. But it does give you a level of excitement going into what could be another treble season. I don't think it's ridiculous for us to now start hoping for that. We're not the players or the manager speaking in public like this. Do you know what I mean? We're allowed to, as fans, go, aye, I fancy that treble now, big time. I think the league gap will grow because I don't see our form dipping in that. And what a perfect next game as well, by the way, just incidentally, St Mirren away. Our biggest challengers of the season because they're actually the only ones who's beat us in the league this season. Do you know what I mean? And it was at that ground. So that's actually quite sweet that comes at this time. And I'm positive we'll get the job done this time. I mean, I really am confident. I think, again, you talk about wee chips in their shoulder. You need to right that wrong. I think they'll do all that. But the position we find ourselves in, Johnny, I know I'm rambling a wee bit, but the treble's very much within our grasp. And I think, undeniably, the quicker we get the league wrapped up, and yes, we'll need assistance from them, but we also have 2 opportunities to play them to extend the gap by a further 6 points as well, bear in mind. The quicker that league's tied up, the more we can start. I know the Scottish Cup will be taken extremely seriously, but I know there'll be building blocks in place already. But the more we can start really looking at what is going to be, I think, a summer to remember. With everything's just aligned perfectly right now for Ange. He's going to go 2 Champions League revenues now in the bank. Barely net spend, I don't know what it will be, 10 million quid. There could be fees coming in from elsewhere. A very, very strong side on the park already. This is gearing up for a summer that, could be extremely exciting, to say the least.
Oh, without doubt. And when we talk about the treble, I mean, like, not only is the treble on, I would go as far as to say the treble's highly likely. I mean, there's only going to be one team that's capable of that. On paper, would be capable of stopping us from doing the treble, and that is them. And I don't think they're strong enough for that. So yeah, get the treble done, get some summer transfer work done. Like you said, we're going to have plenty of money, and we need to make that push for it. It's being able to attract the type of players that we want to attract in. Where's Ange going to go shopping? Is he going to continue shopping in the market he knows and he likes, and bring in players of the standard of Hitati, Kyogo, Jota? I mean, he knows all these markets. How much money is he going to spend? How much money is he going to be allowed to spend? He's got to be given it. Like you said, he's now got the power. I've always said that Ange is a velvet glove and an iron fist. There should be no talk of trebles just now. No, it's dry. Is that just because it's dry March for you? Is it?
Monty, give me a round.
He's a velvet glove and an iron fist. I think he knows what he wants, and I firmly believe that he'll get what he wants, because this board is back him. Because, like you said, he came in from nowhere with no one, and he's completely revamped and rebuilt the squad. Yes, with the money that we raised from good sales. Which is, as you've just said there when you were talking with Connor, Rangers haven't got that advantage. This is our opportunity now. We've had the chances in the past to put our foot firmly on their throats and keep them down, and we've let them back. And we can't go letting them back this time. We've got to say, right, we're making the push for this, and we're turning on the turbo boosters, and we're going for it next year. Not going to say we're going to win in Europe, but make an impression in Europe. That's what we need to start doing. Get that respectability back.
Yeah,
these guys that done that, that's where we want to be heading. Trying to get that respectability back.
I love it. And I think that is definitely the burning ambition that Ange will have as well. I think, as I was saying the other night, Tony Haggett had said on the Celtic Way the other day, he goes, you need to remember, not only Ange doing the reassuring quotes, I want your thoughts on that as well, Steve, because it's been a busy week, man. But Ange saying, I'm here for the long haul. That was the absolute kick in the cojones they did not want to hear in the aftermath of us lifting that trophy, mate. That is not what they wanted to hear. But one of the reasons they will want to be there is it's one of the most, I think, challenging but attractive jobs in Europe for this part of it. I'm not saying the SPFL is, but I think the challenge or the task of making Celtic a European, I don't mean contenders to win European tours, but making them a force in Europe again. Like we always hark back to Martin O'Neill, Sound of Claxon, Gordon Strachan, 2 last 16s, Lenny beating Barcelona last 16. That's got to be a job that you go, do you know what? You could do that there. Like, I think that will be something that excites him. And I just want to know, how excited are you to think that Ange just kind of laid his cards on the table and he doesn't need to do this. He's doing it because he means it when he says he's here for the long haul.
No, I think we're in a very good position, and as you say, the body blows kept coming to Rangers and their fans and their squad and whatnot. Excuse me. After that final, and Ange coming out and saying that is absolutely something that they did not want to hear. I think we're in a great position going forward, and as we've, all the guys have covered, the financial position that we find ourselves in is exceptional. We're talking about interim accounts with 50 million sitting. Profits will grow as the season goes on. You win the league, you've won the cup, whatever it is. Monty says, let's not talk about it. We were remiss not to mention it. There's a potential of a treble, and by all accounts, why wouldn't you back yourself?
Steve. I like that. Well worded.
Why wouldn't you back yourself to push on? We spoke about the cup final in the pre-match, and we says last time we were at Hampden, we lost to them. Well, guess what? That could be another excellent opportunity, not only to remind them that we are on top, but let's just say we did get to a position where we drew them again. What a better time than to take their title away from them that they won by putting us out the last time. So the motivation just keeps on rolling on for us. And, getting into the summer, win the league, instant Champions League money, 30 million or something up front, and then it can increase if the team second place don't go in, etc. We're in a brilliant position. It seems talking of strengthening and making things better. Rangers are coming out and saying they need 3 or 4 players. Well, I personally think that's probably only what we need. And in terms of the summer, I'm feeling comfortable about the summer, because if we get that instant Champions League, the guys that might be linked, in my opinion, they're not going to want to leave. They're going to want to do that again. So probably we're maybe not looking at a position where we get asked a question until maybe January. But at that point, with the finances we've got, and if we're building it the way we expect to, then it should be one of them, one in, one out, and we'll be in a position to deal with it. But no, listen, I'm right. Very positive, and I think Ange has got his eyes on the prize, and that'll filter through to the squad, and I don't see how it can't filter through to the board. It's that, once bitten, twice shy and whatnot. They know what happened when we didn't push on the last time, when they were at the rock bottom. And let's face it, we'll never know until we get to there, but they're not far off it. So it would be foolish of us not to take advantage this time round.
Couldn't agree more. I think you've said that really well. Colin, I'm going to get the first question from the passengers, if you like. And make sure, by the way, you keep your questions coming in. But Scott Cameron comes in. Good to have you on the bus, Scott. And he says, panel, after Ange's comments, how long do you think he will be here, Connor? It's the $1 million question, first and foremost. And undeniably, it's a very difficult square to circle, because you listen to Strachan talking about Celtic, and he says, you've only got a shelf life at a club like Celtic of 3, max 4 seasons. And when you look down south, the trends of managers now, it's very rare you see them, going past that 3-4 year style. However, Ange's timed this, as he's approaching the end of season 2. We're in the home run now. This is the final straight of season 2. Do you know what I mean? Where obviously still a lot of work to be done, but this is an exciting time here, and he's sort of playing his cards. He's laying it out there that I'll be here, for the foreseeable. And how long do you think that actually is? Scott's asking, that actually could mean in terms of years to come.
It's a tricky question, because obviously Ange, up until now, he's very keeps his cards close to his chest. But I think with this summer, with the extra 30 million in the war chest, plus whatever player sales or extra money we get, and the announcement that we're doing a pre-season tour of Japan and Korea, which could be a fair few bucks as well, because you've just seen the absolute explosion of fans for Celtic and the love for the club since we've entered into the Asian market, especially in Japan, with the official Celtic Japanese page, and all the fans from Japan having interviews with the players and just falling in love with the club, is really a very profitable avenue. So granted that next season goes well, and I hope and I pray it does, and I think with the way things are going, I think it will. Not calling it too early, but I do think we're on the right track to go and get another league title as well, maybe even another treble. I think if next season goes well and he's backed, I think he'll stay one more season after that, and then I think that'll be the end of it. I think he'll say, I've done what I can do. Hopefully that comes with more improvement and some success in Europe, and he'll have tested himself against the highest calibre of opposition, and he'll have done what he can, and he's already making a very good reputation for himself with the media and other clubs. So I think we get one, max another 2 seasons out of him, and then I think he'll be on his way.
I think that's fair. Johnny, next question comes in. Patrick McLaughlin, keep your questions coming in. And he says, do you think Ange would overtake O'Neill for some folk if he got us to the last 16 of the Champions League? Now, the one thing I would say about, any talk about, legacies and stuff like that, I think the yardstick will always be Europe. Now, whilst Martin O'Neill never qualified for the last 16, what he actually transformed us into was a team that could compete at that level. Do you know what I mean? Which was, we haven't seen him in my lifetime as, getting big results in Europe. And then suddenly he came in and had the Midas touch, 9 points in the Champions League, 2 seasons and two campaigns in a row, was it? Were they separated by a season? Anyway, he did it twice. And you think, look at the teams we were beating then. It's frightening. Don't forget. Yeah, sandwiched in between that. Seville, of course. Jeez, old boys, wake up. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you look back at that, and I think, whilst the debate about O'Neill and Ange could be futile, the only way, though, to measure how well a manager's done at the club, I think, obviously, domestic dominance is a must if you're going to be spoke about in the, in the highest of company. But Europe is a huge yardstick as well, and absolutely, whilst he doesn't need to qualify last 16 of the Champions League. I think if we were to walk away with 9 points, for example, 8 points and not qualify, we'd all shake hands and go, that was bloody good. Do you know what I mean? And obviously you would have the drop down into the Europa League anyway. But I do think Europe will be something that is the yardstick that we measure him by eventually and in time. And by the way, I think that will be the standard that he holds himself to, and his reputation to will be what we do and what he does in Europe with this Celtic team.
Yeah, I think on that, I think it's all going to come down to recency bias and age levels, if you like. I mean, if you went around about at the time when O'Neill was doing what he was doing, then Ange is going to be up there. But it's like you said, it's got to be, to get up there and overtake O'Neill, it really has to be a European level of success. And as I said, I think recency bias, anybody sort of 20 and under, Ange is going to be the demigod.
I get that though as well. I do get that as well.
I mean, I'm of an age where, when we talk about, I remember seeing certain players, I remember being lucky enough to stand at a football, Easter Road, Celtic Park, Tynecastle, and be able to say, I watched Jock Stein walking down that terracing. I watched him walk down to the dugouts.
You've got to bow to that, like totally.
And and for me, and although I'm not old enough to have been there for the real glory days under Jock Stein, I caught the sort of tail end of Jock Stein, but we were still winning titles, we were still winning cups and whatnot. So it's impossible to say, but Ange has to do something in Europe, and of course Martin's always going to have Seville. That's going to be his ace up the sleeve. Now, you don't know this, but you never. All right, we didn't win it, but he took us to a European Cup final the first time since 1970.
Yep, the Feyenoord.
Yeah, Feyenoord. Yeah, so I think Ange is going to have to do something major in Europe to get the older people such as ourselves who remember O'Neill's times and that. But like I said, anybody who came watching Celtic after O'Neill, they will probably go with Postecoglou, but that's because they didn't live and experience the O'Neill years. So it's a tough one to call, but he's got to do Europe and hopefully next year start making some inroads in it. But I think he could be here for another 3 or 4 years, to be fair.
No, me too. I thought, you just never know right now. And it's great to have these conversations from such a positive perspective. And it's the what ifs. It's not the how are we going to ever manage that. I don't feel like that today. I feel like I'm like, what if? Everything's about hope. No one's saying we're going to go win these things, but we're hoping we can now make dents in Europe. We're watching with our eyes the team's evolution. We're feeling more confident about what the future holds. We're looking at factual accounts that come out and go, we are pretty healthy off the park. We're looking at the manager's achievements so far and the turnaround he's done and going, we like the manager we've got. We're watching the team play some of the best football I've ever seen as a Celtic supporter so far. So we're enjoying that as well. That draws you to one conclusion, that is, what's the next challenge? It's a what if. It's a what if right now. And I think that's a brilliant place to be. I will go to the next question I've got. And Does anyone know how to say the name? I'm sorry. OD. I'll call you OD, man. And he says, question, is Ange has shown to have an eye for a player? Nod to Lenny. I think Lenny has an eye for a player too, to be fair. Maybe not saying 10 minutes they were his. Do you think he might also have an eye for a coach, though, i.e., planning his successor for us? I think there's a lot of sentimentality involved in that. I'm not quite sure it's Ange's gift to be then picking the next manager for us. I'm not quite sure that ever works. I always think of Ferguson and Moyes, and whilst Moyes might have been the right man,
just going to say that.
I thought his shadow just loomed over all that, and it almost made it impossible. So I don't know. But Steve, I'll put that one to you. What do you make of that question, mate?
Oh God, man! I'm going to have to get my thinking hat on for this. That's a horrible one. Do you know what? Listen, I think it needs to all be wrapped up in how long do we see Ange being at the club. I kind of roughly agree with everybody else. I think we're looking at 4, including what we've had before, 4, maybe maximum 5 seasons. And I think whether he stays or goes will be ultimately determined on how well we do in Europe as opposed to how well we do in league. Taking Rodgers, for example, a couple of trebles and what have you. But at the end of the day, he was Brendan Rodgers. He had managed in England and high-profile job with Liverpool and stuff. So different. But anyway, I digress. But no, I think, I was a big advocate of saying that if it got to the end of his sort of tenure and he'd set out all the building blocks of what he wanted to do, that it would be worth at least asking the question at any cost necessary if we wanted to go into this more corporate sort of, what's the word, director of football role, and it'd be more modern, sort of like the bigger clubs, all encompassing, and have him to say, right, well, we'd need to be giving him everything that he wanted, every step, every season, to show that we're invested in his vision that we've got. And if we could do that and have him, getting everything that he wants season to season to season, when he hits his natural point where he thinks, I'm done, does that mean I'm done at the level of the manager? And you maybe say, right, well, you think you've taken us, you as an individual, as far as you can, but how can you improve us all over? And then that's maybe when they would be involved in that recruiting process and profiling managers and trying to look at saying, this is what we've set in, this is the blueprint, and this we want to carry on. So I think only under those circumstances that would be likely. I totally agree with you that the idea of just saying, you're at the door, who do you like, big man? It's a false economy because, not 2 guys alike, but selecting a successor works if you're going to be part of that sort of process in terms of you're still there and it's somebody you're mentoring or they're working on something that you've already laid the blocks on and you're overseeing. I don't think that he would be too overbearing a personality if he wasn't an above role, because I think he understands the philosophy and the ideals of letting people be their own person and all that kind of stuff. So I think, hopefully that's maybe covered that. I think that's the only real situation I could see him being involved in it. I don't think just walking out the door and saying, get him. Nah, I don't see it that way. But if he's still there, then probably.
That's fair. Aye, that makes sense. I'll come to you, Connor. Do the panel cough, says Monty. He's obviously stirring the pot a wee bit here. But he said, do you believe the likes of Cameron Carter-Vickers, Kyogo, Hatate, Jota will be rewarded with new and improved contracts? Now, to be honest, this is what happens when the success keeps coming. You've got to keep those guys happy. They're the agents then come and ask for more money. We're in a position to do it. That's not whilst you just offer willy-nilly improved terms for the sake of it. No one's suggesting that. But that does come with the territory. When you provide success for a football club on the park and you earn the qualification. Hello. Hiya.
Having a wee coughing.
Connor's going to be so red when he comes back on it. I love this shit. I love it.
Oh. The beatnik boy.
But I mean, when you've got players that are delivering success for the club, naturally they start to then get a feel of their worth, and that worth then needs to be rewarded. Do you know what I mean? And I think these are, whilst Monty I know has been a wee bit tongue in cheek, I think there will be inevitably questions over the summer about some of these guys that have maybe came from nowhere. But if we can't have our cake and eat it, we can't say, I could see Rio Hatate or I could see Jota playing in the top 5 leagues for one of the bigger clubs, no bother at all, and then go, don't they deserve a bigger pay though? Like, you can't act like, do you know what I mean? That's got to come with its own then burden of, well, how do you keep them? So this will be a conversation that occurs in the summer. Celtic have got the tools to do it this time, Connor, and they will need to, bite in their gum shield at times and just get on with these negotiations, I think.
I mean, yeah, they obviously do deserve, I think, what they've gave to the club and the contribution that they've made. It does deserve new contracts, but the question is, will they accept them? There's rumours going about today that apparently Celtic were really keen to give Lee Labada an extension on his contract, and apparently he's rejected it. So the players, luckily, this is also, I think, the brilliance that Ange has done is the players came in and he's already got them signed on long-term contracts. So I think near enough every player that's came in signed a 4 or a 5 year contract, which is unheard of. Usually it's 2 years, and then we're scrambling to get them a year extension so we can hopefully get money for them. I would love to see these players be rewarded with extensions for their contracts, because I feel like they're so important to the style that Postecoglou implements, and as long as these players can improve massively and help take Celtic to that next level, because they're all cogs in this big machine that works in unison perfectly, and if you were to take one of those cogs out, the machine can fall apart. So I think it's definitely worth a try, and I would love it, even if it's just a year's extension on the lads' contracts. There's some of them I feel we would be okay without.
Not in that Stuart Armstrong way, though. I fucking hated when we did that. You knew he was for the off. I was like, what's the point? Sell him now. That annoyed me. Sorry, Connor.
That's all right. There is there is players that I feel like if we were to lose them, it would be more acceptable and we'd be able to deal with it. Like Juranovic and Giacomakis, and maybe even to the extent of maybe Abada and Matt O'Reilly. But if we were to lose, say, a Kyogo, a Carter Vickers, or a Jota, I feel trying to replace that level of quality. But even if we were to get 20, 25 million, or even break the transfer record, I feel it may still be difficult to find a player of that quality who responds well to the coaching style, the way that we play, the culture even of Celtic. So I think it's imperative that we move forward and get the lads, what they deserve. And look, I don't give a fuck what we're paying them. The lads have earned whatever the fuck they want to get paid right now, as far as I'm concerned. Carter Vickers is the best defender we've seen in this league for the past 20 years. In my humble opinion, Jota is one of the brightest stars I think I've seen play for this club in a long, long time, and he has the ability to reach the next level. Kyogo is just the talisman up top, who is, his work rate, his effort, the way he responds, he loves it here. I don't think he'll go anytime soon. I think Kyogo's found his home at Celtic. Hatate's the one out of all of them I'm really worried about losing. He's the best midfielder we've had since, the likes of Stan Petrov and Lubo to me. He's that good. And I'd say he has a possibly an even higher ceiling than they two, which is mad to say, but just from what I've seen, it's astounding the way he's, and you've got to bear in mind, he's like, 24, 25, but he's only been playing football a few years because of how the system works in Japan. They go through university system. So he's can develop further to higher level later on in his career. So he has that longevity there. So I feel like it's really important that we capitalise on the good favour that we've curried with the boys and just try and get them hooked up to new contracts as soon as we can. And if not, we make these fucking teams down south pay top dollar for them, because they'll pay €100 million for absolute fucking cash. Do you know what I mean? That couldn't fucking lace players like Jaw, Kyogo, Hatate's boots. So either we give them new and improved contracts, see them here for a good amount of time, or we take that mob down south for everything they're worth.
Well, I think that's fair. It comes with the territory. You know, if you've got them in the long-term deals, it's called securing your assets, which, of course, we are hoping these guys are going to be here for the foreseeable. And if they do go, some of the guys that were mentioned there by Monty, you'll be wanting to go for top dollar. We've got more points coming in, though, Johnny. And I was going to say, you'll not be used to this getting questions you weren't prepared for, but actually, it's just kind of like the breakfast bar, but it's other folk asking the questions, to be fair.
It's a bit like getting sent homework at 11:30 at night on a Tuesday, yeah?
We've got Brown Warrior coming in. I mean, talking about stirring the pot here. Wow. It's not the worst debate to have. And whilst we're in a good place, I'm all for it. It's a bus of positivity tonight. It's great fun. And he says, would you take Brendan back as opposed to Cogler's replacement, say it were in 3 years' time? Johnny, I've been answering all the questions kind of teeing you up. I'm a heck answering that. On you go, son.
Listen, I'm not one of these Brendan haters, I've got to say. Was I pissed off when he left? Yeah, fucking right I was. You know, woke up that morning in February, whatever, you know, and seen it in the paper, on the phone, Rodgers being approached by Leicester. I thought, he won't fucking go there. 2 hours later, he's out the building, he's gone, and I'm thinking, fucking bastard. But when you see what was going on around what was happening with Brendan, the players he wanted that he wasn't getting, you know, he wanted he actually signed at least one of them, if not two, for Leicester, not long after he went to Leicester. There was that, was it Timothy Castagne or something, the fullback that he wanted?
Castagne and Puccini at the back.
Yeah, and I think he took Castagne to Leicester. So you can understand why he went. Maybe not why he went when he did, because I always said he could have said to Leicester, "Come back and see me in the summer, and I'll come in the summer, but I'm finishing this job here for the season." So that was the bit that really pissed me off about Rodgers when he did go. But would I have him back? I probably would, you know. I don't see why not. I mean, he was successful. He's not having a great time at the minute. He's probably going to have a relegation on his CV if he's not careful with Leicester at the minute. But there wouldn't be too many that would be better than him, I don't think, at the minute. But then again, none of us had heard of Postecoglou before. I see Steve O'Mack's not agreeing there, but we never heard of Ange before until 2 years ago. When we heard of Ange was getting the job, we all went, fucking who? But coming back's maybe not the best idea in the world either, but I think he's capable of coming. He's capable of the job, but I'm not a big fan of going back to where you've left. But
I think it's fascinating. I mean, do you see, at the end of the day, if Ange were leaving in 3 years' time, and I know this is all hypothetical, we're all getting on so well. Cheers, Brown Warrior. But you know, I mean, if you want my tuppence worth, you know, I think you've just got to get the best manager available. And if he was available and there was better than him, you know, in said market, fair enough. I'd be surprised though. I'd be okay with it. And I think he's got the bollocks to do it as well. That's the thing. I think he's got the arrogance, if you want. And I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way. I think he would. But anyway, we're not wanting to divide opinion too much tonight. So we'll move on to the next one for you, Steve-O. Cheers for that, Johnny. You did well there, mate. That was good.
Last bit of a question as well, by the way.
Just a wee test for you there, mate. Just keep me on your toes, big man. Boy 67, Graham, Steve-O, he's wanting to know, do you think we will go for another striker this summer for the Champions League? I'm going to add a wee bit on that as well and get your thoughts on O's display at the weekend too.
All right. Just real quick, on the Rodgers, the only reason I was doing the faces was for me, and I don't like to say this for any manager, I think Rodgers is a short-stop manager. He just fizzles out, and I don't want somebody who just fizzles out. So that's why I wouldn't go back to Rodgers, much like what happened with Lennon. He fizzles out, he goes to teams, he has a short sharp, and then it doesn't go anywhere. So that's why, not because I don't think he's a good manager, or I think he's a rat, or whatever, just that's it. Do we need a new striker? You know, you can never get enough. Let's be totally honest. You can't get enough striking options. I think when we actually look at it, I think, personally speaking, I think we only get two strikers. which would be Kyogo and O. I know that he can be played in Japan, put Maeda through the middle. We've spoke about Maeda countless times, and my opinions on him are well known. I like him. I don't see him as being a striker. For every topper of a goal that he scores, there's a million wasted chances. So unless he suddenly kicked on and I started seeing scoring more goals and looking more like a natural finisher, then I would absolutely say that we need one more. What's interesting is, and I don't know if there's anything in it or if it's just agents and the usual nonsense, the talk of Cho, that came round again with Park Gi-sung saying he sees him moving on and stuff like that. So that could be interesting. Is O going to get a wee pal, a fellow countryman in the door with him?
We've seen it work. We've seen it work now as well, by the way, and that's not generalising, by the way, and stereotyping. I think you're absolutely right. I think it helps players settle sometimes having someone of the same nationality. I totally take that point on board.
I think if we look at a sort of squad depth thing, we do need something. Obviously, in the ideal world, we always want to shoot for the best possible. So if it was someone like Cho that's got good experience in terms of game time played and what have you, that's perfect. If it's not going to be someone that's more sort of progressive like that, then I think you need to at least have an established third option. Obviously we spoke about Nesbitt, for example, and I'm just using him as a rough example. On a domestic level, in my opinion, a perfect sort of third person to have sitting about. But I think we do need, if we're going into Champions League, I do think that we need something a wee bit more to pad it out and give us multiple options. With regards to what you're saying about Cho against Rangers, I thought he came on. Sorry, my bad. Talking about Cho and it's in my head now. No, I thought he came on. He showed plenty of energy, he showed plenty of desire. If I'm being honest, I think you said it. I think it was a wee bit self-indulgent when he rattled. Can't remember who it was with the sort of have some of that in the chest, the elbow thing. There was a lot of people sort of saying, that's what you want to see. But I dig. Listen, I'm all for controlled aggression. I thought it was extremely immature and a bit reckless at a point when the game was in the balance.
I said the same on Sunday on Sunday in PMP. I went, I like all that stuff, but maybe that was just creeping into whoa.
It's hard to tell. We talk about the occasion. Is he a young guy that's coming on? He's like, right, let's go, and he's wanting to get in about it, or is it just a case he's planned out in his head, I'm going to put out a marker, both have that, and it would have been so easy to get him sent off, let's be honest, right? I think all in all, we looked like he was doing the right things, he was getting there. He probably should have been slipped in behind Haksabanovic. Didn't really get many chances as such, but I certainly liked to cut his jib. I liked that he was coming deep, he was looking for the ball, he was trying to get involved, and he didn't really get any chances presented to him to sort of comment him on a striker level. So, listen, the right attitude, he wanted to put himself about there. I just think he was maybe a bit naive in the way he went in with that, because we spoke and says, don't give him an excuse. That was a perfect excuse. If we caught him in the face, he was probably off. On the wrong sort of VAR decision. He might have been sent off and all. So I think he was lucky, to be honest with you. I'd like to see him away to St Mirren. I'd like to see him get at least a half or 35 minutes or something. He give him chances, because I want to judge him based on his chances as a striker. He's putting himself about fine, but I want to see how he gets himself into space. Is he testing the goalkeeper? What does he make his chances? Are they on target or whatever? And then, do you know what I mean? That's what I want to see, because it's hard to tell.
I know, that's totally fair. I think the third striker thing will no doubt crop up in a million bus episodes over the summer, like it did last year. But I think it's a fair question to ask us. Scott comes back in, Connor. He's asking, how many points do you think we will now win the league by, Connor Carr?
I'm going to say 17. I think we'll beat them the next two times we play them, and I think they'll drop a couple of points in the league by the time it wraps up. Whether that's to Hibs at Easter Road next week, or it's to Kelly this weekend. I fucking doubt that. But it's going to happen eventually. Because while they're coming out and saying, "Oh, we're disappointed, and we need to all gather together, and we need to, look ourselves in the mirror, and get the brown brogues back on." The other teams.
Is that Jonathan? Who was that? That reminded me of Jonathan on a Monday.
The other teams in the league, when Rangers were under Van Bronckhorst, when they were dropping points all the time, the other teams in the league could smell the blood in the water. They were every time. I feel like when Van Bronckhorst was dropping all the points against St Johnstone, St Mirren's, every team you could see that was playing them thought that they could take points off them, and you could see it. They were going for them every time. And normally teams like that don't turn up against Rangers or Celtic, like to sit back, camp in, but they were going for it. And I feel like if they're as mentally frail as we know they are, and let's be honest, they are, because if you think about it, Abuse had to hire a fucking psychology expert to come in, so Sunday might have done a bit more damage than we've already thought. So the other teams will look at them now as they've took a hit. They are not as good as what they think they are. And they'll look at that and say, we could get something here. And I'm not saying they're going to, get beat off the likes of Kelly or a Dundee United or a Ross County, but they could see out a 1-1 or a 0-0, I think, quite handily against that Rangers team with their, route one tactics that a lot of these teams in the lower reaches in the rest of the league are very well set up to deal with their big physical presences. So, I feel like it could be about 17 points. We'll win the league by at least. It could be more. I mean, I hope it's more. But I think 17 is a fair shout.
No, I think the points gap, the one thing we can all agree on, is going to grow. I think that is undeniably inevitable, and it'll be interesting to see what it actually winds up as. And then the spin of, we matched them and all that. That's then another argument part. But again, going off in tangents. Johnny, I've given you a nice question this time, my friend.
Stubbsy's one, yeah?
Stubbsy's one's for you, Johnny. See, I'm fair. I'm completely fair on the bus, mate. He's got a fiver sitting there, Johnny, and he wants you to spend it for him at the bookies. Please gamble responsibly. Who the heck should I put it on for player of the season? My head's exploding with a question every week. It's a brilliant debate to have, because I completely subscribe to what Stubbsy's saying. I remember and hit subscribe at the bottom. That was a joke. But honestly, Johnny, I think it could be a number of players right now, and it's very hard to call.
Well, you can make a case for two or three of them. I suppose Kyogo's obviously going to end up top scorer, but the way things are going, not just for us, but in the league, that's the man I was just about to say.
Where's player?
Hitati. That's where my fiver would go.
Right,
but
tell me why.
You can make a case for a few of them. You can make a case for, obviously, McGregor. You can make a case for Hitati. You can make a case for Kyogo. They would be
Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Cameron Carter-Vickers. I mean, because I was thinking earlier on, if apart from McGregor, who's the one man that you take out the team that gives you the fear if he's not there? If you look at the team sheet and he's not there, and you think, oh, for fuck's sake, and it's Carter-Vickers, but I'd still go with Hitati for player of the season personally. That's where I put your fiver, Stubbsy.
Not young.
Tell us why it's Hitati, Johnny. Tell us why it's Hitati. Go for it. What have you been so impressed by him this season for? Because it's just nice
quality.
To talk them up.
He's just quality. I mean, I spoke to you last Wednesday after the Aberdeen game. When he scores a goal, beats three men, doesn't touch the ball. I mean, when you've got that kind of ability. But anybody who's watched this and heard me talking, they know how much I love Tom Rogic, or Rogic, whichever way you want to pronounce it. But I thought he could make room and space and keep the ball off of anybody in a phone box. But Hitati, if you watch him, when the ball comes near him, he can be surrounded by about 3 or 4 players, and he only takes a step or two, and he creates so much space for himself. And then he's got the skill, he's got the vision, He's got the passing ability. He sees passes that other players just don't know exist. He's just a quality football player, and we've got to tie him down, lock him in a cupboard so nobody can get anywhere near him, and keep him here for the next 5 years. At least.
Love it.
He's just a quality player. There's just no two ways about it.
There's been a lot of players, Steve, that have been on brilliant form. I'll let you round up the show tonight. I mean, there's been a lot of players on top form. What's your tuppence worth on who's been the best of the Celtic squad so far this campaign?
Listen, we've put them all out there. There's several. I think we talk about awards getting dished out. I think it's going to be a clean sweep for Celtic. We've got to remember, there's Player of the Year, there's Young Player of the Year, there's Football Writers Player of the Year. So there's all these split. Yeah. So I think with their Player of the Year, they're probably going to look at Kyogo just because of the goals, important goals. I think Hatate will be the Young Player of the Year. It's an easy layup to give somebody like him something like that, and possibly a Players Writer. Football Writers Player of the Year. So I think it'll be a clean Celtic sweep. In terms of who's our Player of the Year in house, flip a coin, take your pick. It could be anybody. The big names have come out, and they've all proven their worth. Carter Vickers, an absolute rock at the back. Dare I say it, Starfelt. You can't have one without the other. Both have been absolutely solid, and our defensive record, much like last season, is just as impressive. Midfield, Hatate seems to be just getting better and better and better game to game. Kalmak, consummate professional, never skips a beat. We're literally spoiled for choice. And I've not even touched on Gangster. Not maybe bench at Abada when he comes on, always seems to do something. Jota, maybe a bit up and down, but undeniable talent, isn't it? And then even your big pal, the surprise, Greg Taylor, he's the kind of guy I think he might get our players. Like Player of the Year.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Because of the graft and anytime somebody talks about him, they're always saying about what a transformation. He epitomises everything about the effort and getting it and wanting to, follow the system. You literally, there's any position on the park, it really is that hard. It's just probably about a fucking fag paper between them all in terms of that. And then your pal Moy, who would have thought what a second half of the season he said. And I said it at the weekend, didn't I? I says pre-game, I says he's going to do something big, and he paid 2 key passes, leading up 2 goals. Second one was brilliant. He just shrugged away the boy, rode the challenge, slid it through for Hatate on a plate, have that. But listen, what a time to be a Celtic supporter. We talk about you can be positive, can you be over positive? You've asked me who can I pick out, and I can't. And that's no sitting on the fence. That's just how much depth or quality we've got right now. Normally seasons gone by 1, 2, easy, do that. But it could be anybody. And long may that continue.
Absolutely, long may it continue. Long may the bus continue. It's been a brilliant night tonight. I've loved every bit of the show tonight. It's been great fun. It's good to feel normal again as well. But it's been, the hangovers are all worth it because it was celebrating the first trophy of the season. There will be more to come. Thank you, Conor Carr. Thanks, Steve O'Matt. Cheers, Johnny. See you all later.
Well, you've all that stuff at the start. They won't be playing Tina Turner on the coach on the way home, will they?
Some of his comments about me deliberately trying to cause controversy. Well, I work in the media now. And you've got someone sitting there next to you who's an embarrassment to the media profession. He's an apologist. He's a charlatan. He's a Rangers puppet. He's a cheerleader. That's what he is.